Well, hello again.
Hi.
I'm Jel.
I'm Ray.
So let's go cruising.
Alrighty. And we're off to the Central City Cemetery. If you're wondering where the heck that is Black Hawk, yes.
Ooh, the ghost. This place is really cool. Oops. Sorry, Selena, it's not.
Yeah,
though.
we're frequent visitors to the cemetery. Not necessarily because we have a loved one buried there, but...
It's one of the older cemeteries in Colorado.
Yeah.
Graves going as old as, what's the oldest one that we saw? 1830?
Oh, I can't even
As a
remember.
birthday? I'm pretty sure that was 1830 was one of the birthdays. That's pretty damn old anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So it's really cool. We like to hang out there because we're weird.
Hey, yeah, we're one of those spooky people.
We like hanging out with the ghosties.
And we do it with all due respect, by all means. It's all respect.
It is not because of the cemetery. It is a really cool spot to hike.
Yeah, like it's a beautiful area. Like, it's just cool to see all those old gravestones and pay respects to those people.
Yeah,
a lot of people do. Like, even though they're old, the graves, you can see fresh like gifts and flowers still being left behind.
Yeah, people go up there to go hike, walk around. I think some of them do have loved ones buried up there.
Yeah, because it's still we're in Black Hawk, Colorado. I can't remember if I said that.
Yeah.
Black Hawk.
Black Hawk. It is the casinos are up here.
Yep.
That's what, I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that, but we have our little casinos up there.
Yep.
And it's a little getaway spot. It's really fun to go.
It is. I want to go back to those casinos.
But yeah, the cemetery is really cool. Long story short, cemetery. Cool. Hang out at cemeteries. But don't be weird.
And it's still an active town. Like, it's a very historical area.
Anyone
amongst just
need a place to
casinos.
go, come to Black Hawk.
Mm-hmm.
Got lots of things to do up there. Isn't there an old mine up there too? It used to be. It was like one of the mine
Probably.
places.
There's mines everywhere around this place.
Yeah, because we hiked to it.
Oh, yeah, that one.
That's when my phone got all weird.
Yes.
That's one of the pictures. So I took this picture. It was like pink. Like half of it was pink, like it glitched out or something. And then it did it at Julian's grave. This poor little baby.
Yeah.
Got sick.
This poor little boy.
I like to visit him. I haven't seen him I haven't seen him.
Yeah.
But we haven't visited him.
Yeah, Jel very much is her and ghosts. Like, I don't know. This girl's sensitive with them for sure, and they know it. They definitely know it, because like I've had certain feelings and experiences there, but hers are way more intense.
I'm pretty sure I know people think I'm like making it up or I'm crazy or whatever, but I'm pretty sure I felt him hug my leg that one day.
Grab onto your leg.
Yeah, like how a little kid, like younger than toddler, like baby walking,
like freshly walking kid.
Yeah, how they grab onto your calf. That's what I felt, a sensation on my calf, on my outer calf. It was very light, and it was like a vibrating sensation, and it just felt like a little body pressing. But it was so light, like, I don't know. I know I felt something when I was up there.
I'm sure you did.
I did. Go say hi to Julian.
Be respectful while you're up there.
Go sightsee.
But
Maybe you'll feel something.
We even took the dogs up there.
Yeah.
And we took Valentina and your mom. And when we took everybody up there, her mom kept gravitating back to the cemetery.
It's a really cool vibe up there.
Like Valentina, I think, said she felt kind of heavy or whatnot. And all the dogs.
And the dogs.
We had 3 of them with us, hers and then her mom's. None of them peed by the graves whatsoever.
Yeah, no, they all waited till we were away from the, like, grave spot area.
And those dogs will mark anything.
Yeah, because once we got on the trail and hiked up the mountain, they were peeing all over the place.
Yeah. I remember when I went up there with these 2 other chicks, like, years ago. The intention was for us to just go up there and take photos, and I know it was just us three up there. I know it was, because I didn't see any other parked cars. It was just the one we took. And while all three of us kind of spread out, because we were taking our own, like, little photos, and I know I heard a little kid laughing, like they were playing somewhere. I know I did, because, like, I looked over thinking, like, oh, shoot,
like there
do we
was
have
other
hikers?
people
Yeah, like,
around.
are we not alone?
Because sometimes there are other people.
Yeah.
But
And like I said, it's still an active town. Like, there's I think apartments just almost basically across the street from them.
Yeah.
So either way, I don't know. You guys just have to come and see it, because it's just right up in the mountains.
Do you remember when we tried going at night?
Oh my god.
Idiots. We thought we were going to be brave and go at night, but the vibe that we got, though, still trips me out.
Yeah, me too.
Because, like, it felt like we invaded a party or something.
Yeah, like, I felt like we were getting dirty stares. Like we were being, like, judged.
It wasn't anything negative, or I felt like
it wasn't aggressive or threatening.
Yeah, we weren't threatened. We weren't, like, I don't want to say in trouble, but it just felt like we were not supposed to be there. Like we were uninvited.
Yeah.
And it was scary because we were scaring ourselves.
Yeah.
This bitch had garlic on her.
I brought garlic.
And your
a Bible.
Bible.
Those little New Testament ones.
Yes.
I was prepared,
and
man.
then you felt something touch your shoulder.
Yeah, something, like, grazed my shoulder. And I thought at first it was maybe a tree or a bug just flying by.
We were trying to debunk it.
We did.
We were trying. We tried.
Trying really hard.
There was no branches low enough, and even then I picked up a stick with some branches on it to see if it felt the same, and you said it didn't.
No.
So, like,
it literally felt like fingers just grazing, right? You. Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Oh, that just triggered me when you did that. That was exactly. Ooh, I'm scared. Okay. But yeah, we were. Mind you, we were linking arms.
And we were back to back.
And we were, yep.
And we were back to back.
We were back to back linking arms.
With our flashlights.
Yep.
And she's holding her garlic and her flashlight. So it wasn't one of us touching each other.
No.
Either. So
no.
There was no way. And even if it would have touched me too, if we brushed against something, but nothing touched me.
You didn't see a bug. We didn't see anything.
No.
And the branches, like she said, weren't low enough to have been able to touch us. So
we tried to debunk it, but something touched you that night.
It freaked me out. We didn't make it. The whole plan was for us to walk around in there, like, thinking that we're brave.
And we couldn't even make it past the gate.
No, we passed the gate. Only by 10 feet.
10 steps.
Yeah, it was like 10 feet. And we're like, nope. And then we turned back around after that.
You were like, did you touch me? And I was like, no. And then you were like, no, I felt, did you touch it? I was like, no, bitch, I didn't touch you.
I couldn't have.
Yeah. So that's what happened.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like we were scared, don't get me wrong.
We were, though.
But we weren't, like, freaking out like little high schoolers, like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Like, we weren't necessarily doing that. So it wasn't like we were just working each other up.
We didn't stay long enough to see. I'm pretty sure, dude, if we stayed, we probably would have heard something.
Oh my god.
I feel like we would have heard something, like,
or saw orbs, maybe.
I'm sure if we stayed and stuck it up, but we couldn't. So we left. And we got McDonald's.
Yeah, we got Mickey D's. We went and got Mickey D's after that.
Oh, look!
What is that?
It's a turkey. No, is it a turkey?
There's no turkeys up here. That is not a peacock, bitch.
No, I don't know. Some people have pet peacocks.
We're at the mountains, and this bitch is that a peacock?
People have peacocks for pets here, okay? I've seen it.
Where?
Okay, so
I want to see a peacock.
Whatever, bitch. This bird just crossed in front of the truck, and it looked like a turkey / peacock, but a brown one. I wasn't saying it has it's like doesn't have the feathers and colors like a male. It was a brown one, like a female. I don't know.
Like a turkey, I would have agreed with, but A, it didn't have its gizzard, and B, there's no turkeys up here, but that would have been logical.
No, you don't know. I'm telling you, some people have a turkey for a pet, too.
I'm not denying that. I just want to know where. Because I don't think one got out of his yard and just decided to run out into the snow. There's snow up here.
I don't know. We saw this bird, okay?
Oh my god, that was awesome. I ain't judging, bitch. I'm just saying.
Is that a peacock?
You were so excited, too.
I thought it was a peacock.
Aw, I gotta get wet.
The puddle, we mean.
Hijo de la madre. Oh.
Man, it's been a minute since we've been up here.
Yeah. Look, there's old remnants of, like, chimney and... Ooh, I still wonder if that's where they burn bodies, like...
Yeah, it has to be. It
had to have been. Ooh. And again, we like coming here. We've been many times.
It's just so calm. Like, eerily calm.
It's very still.
Mm-hmm.
Except now there's a little bit of a breeze, but the vibe is still.
Yes. Well, this is an appropriate spot for me to tell you my research. And I am doing a true crimey one, but an oldie. Really old
but
one.
goodie.
An oldie but goodie. I love the old-timey true crime ones. Like,
I just love old-timey, like black and white
I love
movies.
I love all of it. I love all true crime, all of it. So what I'm gonna talk about today is...
Ew, look at my greasy fingers. Sorry. Sorry. Continue. Don't mind me.
So, who I picked is this woman named Mary Ann Cotton. And, she was, like, cotton ball. she was one of England's first female serial killers.
Okay.
Supposedly. So this took place, in the early 1800s in England. Mary Ann Cotton, was born October 1st, 1832. And her maiden name is Robson, so she was Mary Ann Robson, in the village of Low Moseley in northern England.
Okay.
Her father was Michael Robson, and her mother was named Margaret. And I think she had a brother.
Margaret.
But her father, Michael, was a coal miner. Yeah, he was a miner. So they didn't have a very, like, luxurious life by any means. Like,
they were just working.
Yeah, he was trying to work hard, and mom stayed home with the kids and all that. But in February of 1842, Mary Ann was 8, and her father died while on the job. He found down a mine shaft that was 150 feet, 46 meters drop.
Oh.
And he died. So
there's no recovering that body.
So, meaning for the family, they had no provider. So Margaret, Margaret was very upset and depressed from this loss, and she kind of, like, fell into this depression. They were having some troubles.
Obviously.
But within a year, in 1843, she remarried. Margaret remarried. And his name was George Stott. And from what I found in some of the websites that I found, Mary Ann and her stepfather loathed each other. Like, they did not get along. So there's not much else after that. Like, I don't know how their life was, but I can only assume it probably wasn't very good. Especially since she hated her stepfather. She hated him so much, and the conflict that they had with each other was so bad. She ran away to a nearby village in South Helton, England, and she became a nurse, and she ran away at the age of 16. So she dipped.
And she became a nurse?
She became a nurse.
At 16.
She went and she did it. She worked her ass and became a nurse.
Nice. Props.
Hey, you won't say that later.
Ooh.
And then she returned 3 years later to become a dressmaker. But when Mary Ann was about 20, she met a man and was soon married to him. His name was William Mowbray in 1852.
And how old is she?
She was 20. She was 20 years old. So that was her first husband. So over the next decade or so, the couple had about 8 or 9 children.
Wow.
Yeah. But 4 of them died in infancy. So she only ended up having 5 with him. They moved around a lot, and they moved to Hendon, Durham County in 1856. And like around this time, he was a fireman on a steam vessel, and he took out a life insurance policy on himself, as you would, at any job.
On himself, okay.
And it covered 3 children.
Just 3.
3 of the surviving children, it said. Because that's all they had left. Their children kept dying.
Oh.
So all of their kids kept passing away.
Did it say from what?
So most of it was said it was gastric fever. And gastric fever claimed the lives of her husband William in 1864. So he passed away from gastric fever, and 2 more children died of gastric fever not long after that. And Mary Ann Cotton collected 35 pounds from the insurance, which equivalent today would be about 3,560 pounds. And in U.S. current currency, that would be about $4,450.
Which would be a lot back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a decent amount. So Mary Ann got that from his death and from her kid's death. And now she only had 1 remaining child from him, and her name was Isabella. And so when her husband died, she came back home to live with her mom, and she ended up leaving her daughter in the mother's care, and she dipped out to go find a new husband.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, so she dumped her kid on her mom, and then in 1865, Mary Ann now worked as a hospital nurse in nearby Sunderland, England.
Okay, I've heard of that.
So that's where she was at. There she met her next husband, George Ward, and he was a patient at the hospital. He was older, he was an older guy, and he didn't have very good health. So, obviously, because he was a patient. But he was an engineer, so he had a pretty good job.
That's a really good job.
Obviously, he had insurance, and obviously he had, he was... And I'm only saying it like that because... So, take with this information as you will.
Okay.
They got married, and they've only met like a couple months. She met him in 1865, and they got married, and he ended up dying in 1866, late in that year.
Okay.
And he died. And, so, once again, Mary Ann collected insurance money in respect of her husband's wishes in his death. Because he put her on his will and stuff, so she got, as his wife, she got his money.
Naturally.
Mm-hmm. And, George had been a very ill man, yet it had been a surprise that his death was so sudden.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Suspicious. Don't be suspicious. So.
But we're gonna be suspicious.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna be very suspicious of this bitch. Which now leads her as a widow again. So she goes off to find husband number 3. And his name is James Robinson. So this guy she met, he was a shipwright, so basically he was a shipbuilder.
Oh, okay.
In Pallion in Sunderland. So he was in Sunderland. Which he was a widow himself, and he had 4 kids. So he had just lost his wife not too long, and then he hired Mary Ann as a housekeeper in November of 1866, same year her other husband passed away.
Interesting.
And so he hired her as help. So she lived with him, taking care of his kids and stuff. And a month later, one of James's son, John, who was only a baby, like an infant, died of gastric fever, which led James to turning to Mary Ann for comfort for the loss of his new baby.
Oh.
And still suffering the loss of his wife.
Oh, this poor guy.
And then, not too long after that, this bitch got pregnant. So Marianne came to go visit her mother because she got sick with hepatitis. She ended up dying in 1867, which is 9 days after Marianne's arrival. Suspicious. Which therefore made Isabella now Marianne's problem again. So she had to bring her daughter back to live with her and James.
Oh, man.
Which James was probably like, yeah, come on. Like,
yeah, come on over.
In, you know, like, because he sounded like a really good guy. So he probably was like, whatever, you know. And she was Marianne wasn't very, like, thrilled to have Isabella back because her mom was taking care of her. So she was like, damn it. But not long after Isabella came and moved in with them, she developed severe stomach pains and died not too long after that.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm. So Isabella had passed away.
Oh my God.
As did two more.
Are you
serious? More
of
James's children. Their names were Elizabeth and James. So 2 more of his kids passed away.
Oh my God.
All 3 kids were buried. Okay, this is really messed up. All 3 kids were buried in the last week of April and in the first week of May in 1867. That's how close they passed away from each other.
One after another.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
From, you guessed it, gastric fever. And then again, Marianne received life insurance payment from Isabella's death because she was still covered from the previous husband, who was her dad. She got money from insurance for Isabella. And then James and Marianne married each other in August of 1867. And then they had their daughter, Mary Isabella, in that November.
Mary Isabella.
Mary Isabella.
She had the nerve to name
her after her mother. After her daughter.
The middle name,
mm-hmm.
Yep. Oh my God.
Mary Isabella.
That's sick.
But little Mary Isabella didn't survive. She fell ill and died in February of 1868. She was only a couple months old.
Oh my God. From gastric fever.
Yeah, I guessed it. Survey says gastric fever.
What a coincidence! Like this lady must be carrying this fever.
They tried to have another kid together, and they had a son. His name was George, in June 1869. So, during all of that, James and his time with her, James was starting to become suspicious of his wife, insisting him to get life insurance. She was like really pushing it on him, like you really should get life insurance and blah. So she was like really pushy with it, and he was like
suspicious.
Yeah. So she was pushing on it hard, and then he discovered that Marianne had ran up debts, not Johnny Depp, debts of 60 pounds, which is equivalent to today would be 9,137 pounds, and in U.S. dollars that's $11,419.
Which is a lot.
That's a lot of money.
Then. Like, oh my.
She was.
God.
She was running up his bills, and this was all behind his back.
She has a bunch of life insurance money. Apparently,
she blows through it.
Of course,
she's blowing through all of it, and then he found out that she stole 50 pounds, which is 7,614 pounds. And in U.S. dollars, it would be $9,515 she stole from him.
Oh my God!
And she was expecting to bank that too. She was trying to bank that. And then he also found out that she was forcing his oldest child, his last child that's still alive, mind you, to pawn household items like household valuables for more money. So.
Oh my God.
So he threw the bitch out.
Good.
He threw her out. He threw her lying ass out.
Good.
And luckily he gained custody of George.
Good.
So ha.
Bye, Felicia.
And it said in one of the websites, it said James Robinson was the only husband to survive her.
Wow. He got lucky.
Threw her ass out. He caught on to her shit. So now Marianne was homeless.
As she should be.
He threw her out and desperate. So she was homeless for about a year. And then in 1870, she met a woman named Margaret Cotton. And they became friends. And Margaret felt bad for her and, wanted to help her because they were friends, That's what you do for your friends.
Yeah.
Try to help them.
Of course.
There's a lot of Margarets in here. But Margaret took Marianne in, and then she had her meet her brother, Frederick, who was a pitman and a recent widower himself, with 2 children, Frederick Jr. and Charles. And then they lived in Walbottle in Northumberland, which is like northern England. And then Margaret Margaret and her brother were close. So she was helping him raise his boys since the wife was dead, and so she was just kind of like their in-home nanny.
Okay.
So she had Marianne come in and help, and was trying to hook her up with a job and stuff, and was just trying to do Marianne a solid. But poor Margaret got sick from an undetermined stomach ailment, and she passed away in March of 1870.
Jesus.
Yeah. So here comes Marianne to console Frederick, and she got pregnant with her 12th child.
Oh my God.
So Marianne and Frederick got married in September of 1870, and they had their son Robert, who was born in 1871. So now she was new mama. Jesus. Mind you, Marianne's marriage with James was not over. They were still married. He just threw her out. He never divorced her. He just threw her ass out. So she's still married to James. So...
Scandalo.
Yeah. And because obviously they didn't know, because she was just homeless, So this bitch is still married to James, and she married Frederick. So technically their marriage was null and void. So poor Frederick, he didn't know that.
Oh no.
So she was hanging around Frederick for a while, probably stealing his money too, living it up. And then she caught wind of an old lover that she used to have when she was young, apparently. His name was Joseph Natras. Pretty sure that's Natras. Nateris? Nateris. Joseph Nateris. He was living close by, and she heard about him, and he owned an inn.
Okay.
So she was like, ooh, maybe I'll go pay my sexy man a visit or something. I don't know. So she went and rekindled the relationship with Joseph. So she was having an affair.
Oh my God.
And somehow she persuaded Frederick to move them closer to where Joseph was living. So
wow, what a manipulative woman.
Yeah. And he did, so they moved closer. And by the end of that year, I'm pretty sure this was 1871. So by the end of that year, also when Margaret passed, the sister, Frederick Jr. also passed away.
Oh my God.
So all she had left with Frederick was his second son, Charles.
Jesus Christ.
So she got insurance from Frederick's death and Frederick Jr.'s.
Oh my God.
So
lady will just stop at nothing.
Yeah. She's a greedy bastard. So now all who's left in her life is Charles. Poor little Charles.
Oh no.
So it's just her and Charles, because she's a quote unquote widow again. So now she's in the relationship with Joseph Nateris. So she's like just hooking up with him, and he got her a job at his lodge. So he gave her a job when Frederick died, and so he let them stay there and stuff like that. And ironically, she got pregnant again, but not by Joseph. She got pregnant by somebody else.
Oh my God.
And I guess it was someone who was staying there, at the lodge or whatever.
Oh.
Yeah, so she got pregnant again. And this would be her 13th child.
Like sliding a hot dog down a hallway. Oh my God.
Ew.
She nasty, man.
Yeah, she looks so villainesque. If you look up a picture of her, she looks scary.
Just horrid.
She's not ugly or anything. She just has that face, and you're like, oh my god, she just looks mean. She has a mean looking face. You know?
I've seen ladies like that.
Yeah, she just looks like the lady at McDonald's.
Yeah!
It was so mean. She was mean.
Don't cut off people at the drive-thru. Just saying.
Yeah, that was rude. But yeah, she looks scary. So the man's name was John Quick Manning. So he was the one who knocked her up. So not long after that, she also had her little baby, Robert. She still had her baby. Her baby ended up passing away in 1872, and not long after that, Joseph also became ill and passed away.
Oh my
God. What do you think?
Oh, gastric fever.
Wrong. It was gastric fever.
Okay.
Yeah. So now she has Charles. I'm getting all mixed up. Sorry. But now she has Charles left. Conveniently after Joseph died, he revised his will and made Marianne in favor of taking his stuff when he passes. So that happened just before he died. So
okay.
So she got more insurance money from Joseph.
I hate this lady.
Allegedly, John Quick Manning asked Marianne to marry him, but she responded saying that she couldn't because of her surviving stepson, Charles. Adding like, oh, don't worry, he won't be trouble long. So she was trying to find a way to like get rid of Charles.
Jesus.
She even tried dumping him at a workhouse.
Are you serious?
She was trying to put him to the workhouse. But word was spreading quickly. Like people were starting to notice, like, because the whole Cotton family, except for Charles, passed away
once she was in their lives.
Yeah. So neighbors and friends of the family were like suspicious. And because
she offed a whole family
in 2 decades.
Oh my god. So no wonder, obviously, people are gonna notice.
Yeah, the
cemeteries are getting filled.
Mm-hmm. So she was starting to get looked at, and they were really suspicious, especially since she was trying to get rid of Charles. So, and I think she was trying to dump him at a workhouse instead of killing him.
Yeah.
To not make it look so suspicious.
Yeah.
So this brings us to Marianne's downfall, finally. So when she's trying to dump Charles, right? And she meets this parish official. His name is Thomas Riley. And he knew that she was a nurse, and he was asking her if she can help him with a man who had smallpox. And she was like, okay, but she was complaining to him and trying to get help from him that her stepson Charles, was a burden, and she was asking him if he can be committed to the workhouse. So she was trying to
he's a burden
because of his status. She was like, can you pull some strings for me? And
God,
he's just
showing some skin.
Probably. She was trying, so...
Here's my wrist.
It didn't work because... Here's my ankle. Because Riley replied with telling her, saying she would have to accompany him. So, you still can't just leave him. You have to accompany him. And in turn, she said, she claimed Charles was a sickly little boy, and he'll go like the rest of the Cottons.
Oh my God. How dare you?
Mm-hmm. So 5 days later, after that interaction with Thomas Riley, she told Riley that he died. Charles died. Because then she was pushing he was just a sickly little boy.
Now, did he, though?
Was he sickly?
Did he die?
He did. He died.
Oh my God.
He died 5 days later, and she told Riley. So after all of that whole conversation, she came back and 5 days later was like, oh, poor Charles, poor little sickly boy passed away.
Oh, Jesus.
So Riley was very suspicious of it, though. He was like, because he's met Charles and he's seen her, especially since he hired her as a nurse for the man with smallpox.
Yeah.
He was like, Charles seemed in fine health until his death, which was supposedly, you guessed it, because of gastric fever. So he was like, I just saw this kid. He was fine. Like, what the heck happened?
Bright and bushy-tailed.
In 5 days, he got deathly ill and passed away. So yeah, so he was like, so she was trying to collect the insurance, Marianne was,
Of course.
for Charles. But psych bitch, the insurance company refused to pay her.
Good.
Also because, at least not, that was because they wanted Charles' body investigated. They wanted to have an autopsy.
Good.
So they didn't give her anything until then. And it was also because Riley went to the police immediately and convinced the doctor to delay the death certificate until they investigated. So he reported it.
Perfect.
So
Finally.
they did an autopsy on poor little Charles, and his remains were exhumed, and there was a significant trace of arsenic
Wow.
that was found in his stomach. Which, where did I write it down? That arsenic, okay, so gastric fever is a common ailment similar to symptoms of arsenic poisoning.
Jesus, of course.
So that's why it was passed off as gastric fever all this time. She was poisoning everybody with arsenic.
And her having nursing experience would know that. Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Yep.
Jesus.
Yeah, and then she had access to it. You know, like she got arson. She
knew how to get it.
She knew what she was doing. Everybody, she did it. Yeah. So they found that, and then soon followed that Marianne was tried for the murder of Charles Cotton.
Finally.
Final victim. He had to be the last one.
Oh.
At that point, that's like, how many people now? Like, there's like 21 people or something like that.
Whoa.
All those kids. Most of those were the kids. She was killing her own kids.
How, as a mother, can you do that? Like, she literally just
she was
gave birth to profit, is what she did.
Yeah, she was a greedy bitch. She just wanted money, and she figured out the easiest way to do it was through insurance.
I want to cut her. Curb stomper too.
Don't worry, somebody curb stomped her.
Okay.
I'll get to that.
Okay.
So at this point, local newspapers caught wind of this story, and they were going nuts.
Oh, I'm sure
They were going
eating it
nuts
up.
all over it. So, she had to move back to northern England. Or no, sorry, tonta. So the reporters discovered her weird movements, how she moved around a lot. Because she was moving around all over northern England. And they realized, too, that she had lost 3 husbands, a lover, a friend, a mother, and 11 children. All from stomach or gastric fevers.
So they finally saw her pattern.
Yeah. So they were catching on. And so on the trial was held in January 1873. And this was for Charles. But it was delayed because she was still pregnant. Remember with John Quick Manning's kids? So they allowed her to have the kid.
He quick manned her, all right.
He had a baby, and this baby's name was Margaret Edith Quick Manning Cotton.
What
she
a
had
name.
the nerve to name her Margaret too. Like her mom and like her best friend that she killed. Yeah, she had a lot of irony in her names.
She had some nerve.
She did. A lot of her kids were named after.
I want to punch her with some brass knuckles.
Because some of the kids, I didn't write down all of the kids' names, but a lot of them had Mary or Margaret in their name somehow.
What a snake.
Yeah, and so yeah, it was just...
How can you do, like, how can you be so evil to just do that?
Yeah.
Like, oh, what a front. But, oh, my
How manipulative, too, to, like, play along and...
This woman's bringing back my stutter.
And some of those kids were her stepkids. They weren't even her kids. She killed somebody else's kids.
Yeah, she murdered.
Like poor James Robinson.
That destroyed.
3 out of his 4 kids died when she came into his life.
Like, I don't have children. I have motherly instincts, but I mean, even I know you don't. That's someone's life, literally. Like, I've heard so many of my friends who do have kids say, like, they're my life. Mm-hmm. Like, my mother even.
Yeah, this bitch is crazy. So now her trial started. Now this is the trial. In March 5th, 1873. So, the defense, this is so stupid. Okay, so the defense case was handled by Thomas Campbell Foster. So that was her defense attorney, who argued that during the trial of Charles, that he had died of inhaling arsenic used as a dye or that was in the green of the wallpaper.
What?
So he was like, it had to have been because of the wallpaper, guys.
Okay, my ass. He didn't go up there and just sniff and lick it. Like,
so because arsenic was a present, what do you call it? Ingredient. Thank you. God, not that. Ingredient in Victorian homes, because that's how they used to make the paint.
It was common.
So it's not like
that's why it was easy for her to get too.
But but it wasn't. That's not what happened. They were like, no. He was like, he inhaled it.
Oh my god!
This woman is innocent.
Just makes him
But during this, they exhumed 2 more of Frederick's children. So they unburied Frederick Jr. and I think Robert. And they also exhumed Joseph and Terrace. And they found traces of arsenic in their corpses.
Of course.
So that was a major, walk-in for them. Mm-hmm. And the doctors testified that there was no other powder on the same shelf as the chemist shop as the arsenic, only liquid. So it was like, no, that was not inhaled. That there was liquid in their system.
Wow.
Like there's no way that, and there was no other traces. Like if you're saying if it was from the paint of the wall or the dye in the wallpaper, there would have been other traces of something. Yeah. Not just the arsenic. So they were like, no, this bitch, she did it. Yeah. She knew it. They caught on. They caught on to her shit.
No, it's you.
So they had a pile of evidence and countless witnesses testifying against her. Even James came and testified against her. Good. As well. I'm pretty sure that's what I saw on one of the sites.
He probably wanted to choke her out.
Quote: after conviction of the wretched woman exhibited strong emotion, but gave place in a few hours to oh my god, why can't I think? Can't I read? Sorry. After convention of the wretched woman exhibited strong emotion, but gave place in a few hours to her habitual cold, reserved demeanor, and while she harbors a strong conviction that the royal clemency will be extended towards her, the Solanchi are she Solanchi asserts her innocence. The Solanchi is so stupid. She Solanchi asserts her innocence of the crime that she has been convicted of.
I didn't know Slaunchy was a word. I'm going to use that. I thought you were going to say that Slaunchy
I'll say it again. She Solanchi asserts her innocence of the crime that she has been convicted of.
What a Slaunchy hoe.
Oh, man. So, anyway.
She is wretched, too.
Yeah, so basically they were like, fuck off, lady. We caught you. And
you're done.
And she had no emotion. She displayed strong emotion at first.
No remorse.
But she didn't, but once it was
locked in.
Yeah, she was just sitting there and she had no emotion. She was cold,
she took
reserved demeanor, and she was just like, fine.
Alright, fine.
She never confessed to anything, though. She still held her tongue with that. She did not confess to anything.
She didn't want to dig her grave much deeper.
So, Mary Edith and George Robinson were the only 2 children to survive their mother. Out of, like, the 13 kids that she had. 2 out of 13 survived her.
Just terrible.
See, it wasn't like Leonardo, who was just, her kids were just...
Her life.
Yeah, like, because she lost a lot of kids, too, but she didn't make them die.
No.
Marianne chose to take all of her kids away.
Leonardo, I thought she was cursed.
Mm-hmm.
This is a curse.
Yeah. So March 24th, 1873, Marianne Cotton was hanged for the trial of for the murder of Charles. She was 40 years old. So, and I read in a couple sources, there's different things. So apparently, but there was one thing similar, that they were saying that the hanging was botched. Because, so in one source it said the hangman was clumsy and the trap door she fell through wasn't at the right height, so he didn't set it up right, and it wasn't, so the weight wasn't enough to break her neck like how it's supposed to, you know? So to complete the task, he had to press down on her shoulder and snap her neck.
Oh.
So someone did curb stomp her to make her die. And then another...
What a death, but she deserved it.
That's what I thought, honestly.
That was too good for her, honestly.
But, and then another source said that no one stepped on her, but she just slowly choked to death. Because it didn't snap her neck, so she slowly... died suffocating because the rope. So they just kind of like,
one better.
But it was like, either way, no one was mad about it. So,
if anything, they got creative.
Yeah. So they were kind of, and that's what I said. In some sources, it implied that it was kind of planned because of how evil and wretched and salaunchy she was.
Slaunchy. I'm using that.
I gave you a new thing
You did.
But
Slaunchy wench.
I found this interesting. So in one of the sources, Marianne Cotton has her own nursery rhyme.
Is it what I think it is?
It was sung after her hanging in 1873, and this is the rhyme. Marianne Cotton, she's dead and she's rotten, lying in bed with her eyes wide open. Sing, sing, oh what should I sing? Marianne Cotton, she's tied up with string. Where, up in the air. Selling black puddings, a penny, a pair. Marianne Cotton, she's dead and forgotten, lying in bed with her bones all rotten. Sing, sing, what can I sing? Marianne Cotton, tied up with string.
See, and I was thinking Ring Around the Rosie.
No, Ring Around the Rosie is the Black Plague.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That was detailed right there.
Ashes, we all fall down.
Oh my God. There's I remember holding hands with my friends and spinning around, and then falling down. How graphic, man! Like
isn't that great? It's so morbid.
It is. It's metal.
So metal.
Metal. Like Metal Apocalypse.
Ashes.
Or Metal
Apocalypse.
Oh my God.
Anyway. Yeah, so that's one of the nursery rhymes. And then there's a TV drama called Dark Angel, starring Joanne Froggatt. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Sorry. I know her. She's from Downton Abbey. From the Downton Abbey lovers. She's in Downton Abbey. She plays Cotton, and this came out in 2016. I didn't get to watch it, but it's apparently on Amazon Prime.
Ooh.
Yeah, but you had to rent it, so I didn't get it. But there's a TV show, and it's a 2-part TV drama. So it's this little like mini series about her. So I kind of want to watch it to see how she portrays her.
Yeah.
But a lot of the information I got from this book, I didn't read the whole book, but that's from a lot of the sources came straight from this book. It's called Marianne Cotton's Britain's First Female Serial Killer, and it's by David Wilson. So it's basically like a biography about her.
Okay.
And talking about the murders and stuff. So that's where I got, at least in the sources that I got, it was a lot of the information was from that book.
Okay.
But yeah, that is Marianne Cotton, one of England's first female serial killers.
I was gonna say one of England's wretched,
Slaunchy little
wenches. Oh.
Murdering mistresses.
Oh yeah, she wants to be Satan's mistress. It's you though. Oh my goodness, dude.
Yeah.
That was.
I kind of wish. I'm sorry, I probably sound like such an idiot talking about it, but I wish there was more. There was nothing else I could find about like her childhood and like her upbringing. I was trying to see, but again, from knowing that she loathed her stepfather, there was probably bad things going on in the house and stuff. So I don't know, but I would have liked to learn more about that. I just couldn't find it, so. But I mean, of course, stuff like that is so old. There's only so much records.
Yeah.
Half of her kids weren't even like registered. So
she probably said, "Why bother?"
there's not enough to. In one of the sources I read, it was saying that they're not even sure of exactly how many kids she had.
Oh my
because
God.
What was her first husband? It's one source said that they had like 13 kids together, and then another source was like that they had 7 or 8. So, but again, not everything is registered during those times.
Man, after the 8th, they just walked out after that.
I just thought about the Family Guy episode, the dumpster baby.
I'm a prom night dumpster baby.
So bad.
I got no mom or dad.
Freaking Family Guy, man. Anyway, but yeah, that was Mary Ann Cotton.
Wow, dude. Well, take with that what you will. So,
hopefully you enjoyed that little bit of information, because I thought it was interesting.
I sure enjoyed it, and I'm still mind blown. I'm just letting it marinate right now.
But next time, we're going to move away from true crime.
Mm-hmm.
Next week is Cinco de Mayo.
It is.
Mira que.
Mira que.
So, sorry. We're going to be talking...
Sorry, I got whipped cream on you.
Got it on your face, too. You trollop.
Oh my... Sorry.
So next week, we're going to be talking about our roots.
Roots.
Roots, and we're going to talk Latino talk.
Indeed.
So, if you guys are interested in cruising and talking about that, join us next week.
Yeah, and we're going to be more so her Mexican roots and my Chilean roots.
To be specific.
All my Chileans, put your hands up.
All right. So, we'll see you next time.
All right.
And we're going to go cruise back down the mountain.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. See you later.
Bye.
Out of here.